Well, hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Ashmit Kumar. You can now watch India Business Hour live on our YouTube page at 7 p.m. every weeknight. That's 60 minutes before the TV broadcast. Here are the headlines that we're tracking this hour. Sensex and Nifty post the biggest single-day gain in 2 months as markets snap a 5-week losing streak. Mid-caps continue to outperform, with the index gaining 3% this week. August automobile sales throw up a mixed bag. Maruti reports record monthly sales, but Tata Motors and Bajaj auto sales decline. GST revenue collections in August near 1.6 lakh crore rupees, rising 11% compared to last year. India's Purchasing Managers Index for manufacturing hits a 3-month high, but employment generation slows to a 4-month low. The union government forms a committee to explore the possibility of holding Lok Sabha elections and state assembly elections simultaneously. Former President Ram Nath Kovind is likely to head the committee. Top leaders of the opposition alliance India meet in Mumbai to plan for the 2024 Lok Sabha polls, pass a resolution to fight polls together, form a coordination committee. Seat-sharing talks would begin now. Torrent Pharma likely to have submitted a non-binding bid for Cipla. Sources say Torrent is also evaluating a binding bid and is in talks with private equity players and international institutions to raise funds. That's an exclusive. Another CNBC-TV18 exclusive, Zerodha founder Nikhil Kamath eyes a larger stake in mobile gaming company Nazara Tech, looks to hike his stake from around 1% to 3.5% in his personal capacity. India's daily power demand hits an all-time high. Daily power deficit also soars to record highs. Maharashtra, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka and Bihar face the highest power deficit. A global investigative news outlet accuses Vedanta of running a covert campaign to weaken India's environment laws during the COVID pandemic. The report claims that Indian government approved the changes without public consultation and implemented them using illegal methods. Vedanta says it makes representations to the government in the best interest of national development. Children from void marriages will enjoy equal rights to parents' ancestral property as per the Hindu succession law, says the Supreme Court. The top court clarifies that children are entitled to inherit a share in the property notionally allotted to their parents. Royal Enfield rolls out the next generation bullet motorcycle at a starting price of 1.73 lakh rupees. Bookings open today and deliveries will begin from the 3rd of September. And with just 1 week to go for the G20 summit in New Delhi, the national capital is getting a green makeover. A special report is coming up. Well, first up, today's market action. Stock markets have snapped a 5-week losing streak. Sensex and Nifty notched up gains of over 1% for the day and the week as well. Now, Friday saw the biggest single-day rally for the major indices in 2 months. Financial stocks lead with gains. Mid-caps also rallied in tandem with blue chips for the day. But the mid-caps outperformed and the index gained over 3%. Well, here's some economic data now that is moving the markets worldwide. The United States has added more jobs than expected for the month of August. The country added over 180,000 jobs, marking a steady pace of jobs growth. However, the unemployment rate increased to 3.8% from July's 3.5%, which is the highest in 18 months. And well, from the United States to China, where 5 of the country's largest lenders, largest banks, have cut interest rates in a coordinated effort to prop up the economy. Now, Beijing has been ramping up its efforts to shore up the economy as it grapples with a slowdown in consumer spending and a liquidity crisis in the real estate sector. Now, Chinese authorities have rolled out a series of measures to revive the property market. Keep in mind that Country Garden, a large real estate company in China, is strapped for cash, and that the management has delayed a deadline for creditors to vote on a $500 million bond payment. And well, back home, Nilesh Shah of Kotak Mahindra AMC has warned investors over the rally in small cap stocks. Speaking to CNBC TV18, he said that when money making is so easy, you know that there is risk right ahead.
Today, there is a herd mentality. People are buying micro caps, mini caps based on momentum, not based on fundamentals. Now, there is always exception to rule. So some of the micro caps, mini caps probably are reflecting their fundamental values. But when we look at them as a percentage of market cap, as a percentage of large cap valuation, as a percentage of their own historical average valuation, clearly there is a red signal. No one knows when the momentum ends.
Well, in some international triggers now, oil prices have risen for a fourth consecutive session and are on track to snap a two-week losing streak. Now, this is on the back of tightening supplies and expectations that the OPEC Plus group of oil producers will extend output cuts to the end of the year. Well, speaking of oil, air travel may be getting more expensive. Oil marketing companies have hiked jet fuel prices by 14% to over 1.12 lakh rupees per kiloliter. Now, the latest hike has taken the aviation turbine fuel prices to the highest level since December of 2022. In the last 3 months, the ATF prices have surged around 24%. Well, public sector oil companies, meanwhile, have slashed the price of commercial LPG cylinders by 158 rupees. The new prices will be effective from today. This comes after the government reduced the prices of household gas cylinders by 200 rupees. Remember, prices of commercial LPG cylinders were slashed by 100 rupees in the month of August. Well, here is a CNBC TV18 exclusive. Torrent Pharma is likely to have submitted a non-binding bid for Cipla. We learned from sources that Torrent has started financial due diligence and a decision on tabling a binding bid will be taken in just a few weeks' time. Ekta Batra is joining us now with more details. Ekta, take us through what you're picking up.
Yes, the latest I am picking up from my sources is that Torrent Pharma is likely to have submitted a non-binding bid for Cipla. We understand from sources that financial due diligence of Cipla is currently underway by the company. Because of the large ticket size of the deal, which would be over 50,000 crores inclusive of an open offer, the question arising is how is Torrent, despite its track record of acquisitions, albeit smaller, is likely to fund a deal of this size. The company, we understand from sources, is actively looking at funding options to bridge the gap. As per sources, they are currently in talks with 3 to 4 private equity firms and separately exploring international institutional funding options as well. Lastly, what are the synergies? Torrent believes the geographical access is key. For example, the India portfolio overlap is limited to around 5%. Torrent would also get access to the US market, which is over 5x larger than Torrent's, and access to other markets such as South Africa. We have reached out to both parties and are awaiting comments. Torrent Pharma has, however, issued a clarification to the exchanges pertaining to a news item referring to potential sale of shares by promoters pertaining to their involvement in the acquisition of Cipla shares. The company has said they do not comment on speculative reports in absence of verified data, no information which requires disclosure as of now. If there is any proposal warranting disclosure, the company will promptly comply. The stock, however, has been under pressure on fears of what the structure could look like, what the debt on books for Torrent could probably look like. They already have a gross debt of around 5,000 odd crores, and what would happen to key opportunities in case this deal goes through, such as Revlimid generic, a key cancer drug in the US markets.
Right, Ekta, thanks a lot for that. And well, speaking of pharma, sales of generic drugs under the government's John Oshodi scheme has risen 38% in FY23. The government is selling these drugs at cheaper rates through more than 9,500 outlets across the country. A compounded annual growth rate of over the last 5 years is at 54%. The drugs sold under this scheme are cheaper by 50 to 90%. For example, a strip of paracetamol costs as little as 7 rupees. Compare this to 8 to 9 rupees for an unbranded generic and anywhere between 40 to 70 rupees for a branded version of paracetamol. These price differences have seen savings of as much as 6,000 crore rupees for Indian patients in just a year's time. Speaking exclusively to CNBC-TV18, the CEO of Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Bureau, Ravi Dadhich, which runs the John Oshodi scheme, has said that all drugs are produced from WHO-certified companies to maintain quality.
We procure all the medicines through WHO GMP-certified companies only. And even after placing the orders with these companies, when we procure these medicines, there is a centralized procurement in our 4 warehouses located in all parts of the country. After receiving these products, every batch is again tested, is sent for these products are anonymized and then sent to NABL accredited labs for retesting.
The credit ratings agency Moody's has raised India's GDP forecast for 2023 from 5.5% to 6.7%. The agency has said that strong expansion in the services sector and capital expenditure has propelled India's 7.8% real GDP growth. However, it has cut its 2024 forecast from 6.5% to 6.1%, citing that the second quarter outperformance created a high base effect. Well, India's manufacturing activity, meanwhile, witnessed the fastest growth in 3 months in August. As per the S&P Global Purchasing Managers Index, India's manufacturing PMI came in at 58.6. That's slightly higher than July's figure of 57.7. It was largely led by increase in the new orders and production. A reading above 50 indicates expansion. However, overall employment rose at the slowest pace in 4 months' time. Well, the government, meanwhile, has collected a gross GST revenue of nearly 1.6 lakh crore rupees in August due to better compliance and lower tax evasion. This is 11% higher than the collections of August of 2022. GST revenues from domestic transactions, including import of services, rose by 14% on a yearly basis. Auto stocks, meanwhile, rallied in trade today despite reporting a mixed set of sales for the month of August. Mahindra and Maruti witnessed some strong growth across most segments. Mahindra's PV sales saw 25% boost, recording the highest ever SUV sales last month. However, Bajaj Auto and Tata Motor sales witnessed a significant slump. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Bajaj Auto's management said that they remain hopeful of a 5 to 8% growth in the festive season.
What we are seeing in retail terms, it's now at about 4 to 5% growth over the same period last year. We expect that this should obviously, with the festive kicking in, should probably go up to 5 to 8%. So nothing dramatic.
Well, 93% of 2,000 rupee banknotes in circulation as on the 19th of May have been returned according to the Reserve Bank. 87% of these were deposited, while the remaining 13% have been exchanged. The total value of the banknotes received back from circulation is at 3.32 lakh crore rupees as per the 31st of August. India's power demand has hit a record high on the last day of August. Daily power deficit has also risen to record highs. The Power Ministry has attributed this to dry spells in some parts of the country and humid weather. The ministry also said that Maharashtra, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka and Bihar have faced the highest power deficit. The government has formed a committee to explore the possibility of one nation, one election. This comes a day after the central government announced a special parliament session from September 18th to 22nd. Earlier today, BJP's national president JP Nadda met the former president Ramnath Kovind, who is likely to be heading this committee. The former president had pitched the idea of one nation, one election way back in 2018.
A person of the stature like Sri Ramnath Kovindji has taken the decision, or he has accepted the offer of the Prime Minister. Now this commission will definitely look after the issue of one nation, one election, because multiple election involve lots of money, and because every time India is in election mode, development suffered a lot.
देश के सामने अहम मुद्दे महिला सम्मान है, किसानों की जो दिक्कतें हैं वो हैं, बढ़ते बेरोजगारी पर है, चिरमराई हुई अर्थव्यवस्था पर है, चाइना जिस तरीके से अग्रसर हो रहा है उस पर है। ये सारी देश की चिंता है। अगर ये स्पेशल सेशन उसको एड्रेस करता है तो ये स्वागत योग्य है, वरना अपना एजेंडा चलाने के लिए, सत्ता में कायम रहने के लिए काम करता है या इन मुद्दों से ध्यान भटकाने का काम करता है, तो दिखाता है भारतीय जनता पार्टी तिलमिलाई हुई, घबराई हुई पार्टी है।
Well, while the BJP explores the possibility of one nation, one election, it was day 2 of the Mumbai meet for India, the opposition grouping bloc. Now released 3 resolutions. This includes jointly contesting the forthcoming elections together as far as possible. Santya Gowda sums up the Mumbai edition of the India grouping meet.
The 2-day meet of the India Alliance in Mumbai ended on Friday evening. 63 representatives from 28 political parties participated in the 3rd meet of the India Alliance. The India bloc passed 3 key resolutions, including throwing some light on the seat sharing program.
Seat sharing arrangements in different states will be initiated immediately. We, the India parties, hereby resolve to organize public rallies at the earliest in different parts of the country on issues of public concern and importance.
Rahul Gandhi once again raised Adani and China encroachment issue. He said that with all these parties coming together, he is sure that they will defeat PM Modi and the BJP government.
This stage represents 60% of the Indian population. If the parties on this stage unite, it is impossible for the BJP to win an election.
Bihar CM Nitish Kumar spoke about the special parliamentary session called by the government and the possibility of early elections.
अब कोई ठिकाना नहीं है, चुनाव समय के पहले भी हो सकता है, कोई ठीक नहीं है.
Senior leaders like Lalu Prasad Yadav and Arvind Kejriwal levelled allegations of corruption against PM Modi and the BJP government. Sitaram Yechuri claimed that soon more parties will join the India Alliance.
5-6 हमारा ऑपरेशन हो चुका है, लेकिन आप सबका आशीर्वाद और कृपा है कि हम जीवित हैं और मोदी जी को हटा के ही हम दम लेंगे हम लोग, इसलिए हम लोगों ने संकल्प लिया है.
Well, here is a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Zerodha founder Nikhil Kamath is looking to increase the stake in gaming company Nazara Technologies. Sources have told CNBC that Kamath, who holds about 1% stake in the company, is in talks to raise his stake to 3.5%. However, Nazara Tech has refused to comment, calling the development speculative. Well, a global investigative outlet has accused Vedanta of running a campaign to weaken India's environment laws during the pandemic. The report has claimed that the Indian government approved the changes without any public consultation and that these actions were implemented by using illegal methods. Vedanta has responded to the report, saying that the representations made to the Indian government were done in the best interest of national development. Meanwhile, funding winter gripped Indian startups in the month of August. As per data by Venture Intelligence, startups raised $376 million in private equity and venture capital funding as of August 27th, lower than July's figure of $523 million. This is despite Zepto's fundraise of $200 million in May and June. Startups raised over $1 billion each. Well, Royal Enfield has launched its next generation Bullet motorcycle. The starting price of Bullet 350 is more than 1.73 lakh rupees. The bookings for the Bullet will start from today and the deliveries will commence from the 3rd of September. Jude Sanith brings us this report from the launch event in Chennai.
A 91-year-long legacy at Royal Enfield is all set to continue thanks to the company's launch of the all-new Bullet 350. Design-wise, the bike makes for some familiar comebacks. For instance, the iconic Madras stripes have made an appearance, hand-painted till this very day, even as Royal Enfield's winged badge has also scripted a bit of a comeback with that crown logo to boot. But what is perhaps a lot more attractive is the bike's pricing and its distribution. For instance, Aisha Motors has said that it starts at just about 1.73 lakh rupees for the base variant. That's, remember, the military red and military black, even as the standard variant costs about 1.97 lakh rupees, and the golden black is priced at the apex at 2.16 lakh rupees. Distribution-wise, the company said that these bikes will hit the store, or will be available for booking rather, as early as today itself, even as retail sales will begin from September 3rd.
And well, in the aviation space, Vistara Air India merger has been approved by the Competition Commission of India. The competition watchdog has also approved Singapore Airlines' stake acquisition in Air India. This paves the way for an integration of all 4 Air India Group airlines into a single entity. Well, on that note, coming up on India Business Hour, with just 1 week to go for the G20 summit in New Delhi, the national capital is getting a green makeover. A special report is up next. And you can also catch all CNBC-TV18 news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. Well, you are watching India Business Hour. The big story from Court Corner now. A 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court ruled today that children born out of void or voidable Hindu marriages are entitled to inherit their deceased parents' share in ancestral property. The court, however, clarified that the ruling is applicable only to Hindu joint families governed by the Mitakshara succession law. A quick background: Section 16, subsection 3 of the Hindu Marriage Act limits rights of children from void or voidable marriages to only parents' property. However, in 2011, a 2-judge bench of the Supreme Court held that children from a void marriage would be entitled to equal rights as those from valid marriages. However, since the 2-judge bench differed with a view taken by coordinate benches, the matter was referred to a larger bench. The CJI Chandrachud-led bench of 3 judges had reserved this judgment in the month of August. Well, the G20 summit is just over a week away, and the national capital is being given a massive makeover to welcome 8,000 foreign visitors and delegates. Now, this includes a greenification on Drive that has seen lakhs of potted plants and over 3,000 grown trees being planted across the city. CNBC-TV18's Abhimanyu Sharma and Shivani Bazar's report that this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Water fountains, artificial waterfalls, sculptures depicting India's history. These are just a few of the installations that have found a home in New Delhi over the last 2 months as the city sprouses itself to welcome hundreds of G20 delegates for the Leaders Summit. Residents are thrilled and hope these will not vanish or get neglected once the visitors leave.
There is no doubt, a lot of improvement is there. It has been beautified. A lot of plants you can see everywhere. Cleanliness is there. So everywhere you can see everybody, all the government departments are busy in dressing up. But main thing is that this drive and this, our motto should be carried on, It should always be there.
Of course, what's a welcome without banners and posters and hoardings? Delhi's makeover also has a green edge to it. One that includes 3,000 grown trees being planted along key routes into central Delhi.
Well, over 100 new fountains have been constructed in New Delhi. Along with that, more than 7 lakh potted plants have been placed on the sidewalks of major routes that connect New Delhi International Airport to South and Central Delhi. Now, we are standing right now at one such location, which is bang on the road that connects IGI Airport's Terminal 1 to Central and South Delhi. And as you can see, I am standing here in front of this giant lion structure, which is stone carved with beautiful fountains, which stands here kilometers away from IGI Airport's Terminal 1.
Authorities say that over 100 sculptures and theme-based fountains have been installed across Delhi. Metro station pillars have been painted to depict India's cultural history. Walls near the G20 venue have been painted with graffiti relating to the G20 and India's latest triumph, the landing of Chandrayaan-3 on the lunar South Pole.
People abroad have a feeling about India, it is a sapero ka desh. But sapero ka desh ab sapero ka desh nahi, chand pe pahunchne wala desh ho gaya. It's a country which has reached the moon.
Given the pride and appreciation this makeover has evoked, Residents have almost forgotten that the National Capital Region will be under a virtual lockdown for a little over 3 days when the delegates are present.
People are largely appreciative of the decorations across the national capital ahead of the G20 Leaders Summit, be it the decorative graffiti, murals or themed fountains. While many feel that the decorations could have begun earlier or could have been more elaborate, many others are of the view that such exercises should be more frequent in India's national capital. In Delhi with video journalist H.K. Patra and my colleague Shivani Bazaz, this is Abhimanyu Sharma for CNBC-TV18.
In international news, Russian President Vladimir Putin will host a meeting with his Turkish counterpart, T. Erdogan, in the Black Sea resort city of Sochi in Russia. The Kremlin press secretary, Dmitry Peskov, said that the talks will take place on Monday. Social media app X will now collect biometric and other kinds of personal data. This is a move to make the platform formerly known as Twitter a super app and a one-stop shop. The company later clarified that the data will be used to add an extra layer of verification for premium users. The app will also use this data to recommend potential jobs or to show relevant ads. And India's first solar mission is set to take off tomorrow from Sriharikota. The Aditya L1 spacecraft will travel 1.5 million kilometers from Earth for over 4 months to study the sun. It will place itself in the halo orbit around the Lagrange point 1 of the Sun-Earth system. The launch comes days after India's moon mission landed successfully on the lunar surface. And well, before we go, India and Pakistan are all set to face off for the first time in 4 years in the ongoing Asia Cup in Sri Lanka. This will be the opening Asia Cup match for the men in blue, while it is Pakistan's second in the tournament. However, the highly anticipated fixture could be washed out given that 91% rain has been forecast for the area tomorrow. And well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Up. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates continue right here on CNBC TV 18.